What's up, guys? So, as engineers and producers, we're asked to bounce different versions of songs and stems all the time. And if you have Pro Tools, it can kind of be a pain in the ass, but I'm going to go over a couple ways that we can do that and do it efficiently. Let's jump right into it. So the first way that we can bounce stems or bounce different versions of a song is a conventional way. We can just solo what we need. So if I'm just doing drums, I'm going to solo all my drums and then hit bounce. Oops. And then hit bounce and then bounce it that way. But then that's kind of painstaking and might take a long time. So I have a couple solutions for you guys. And I'm going to start with the easiest one first. The easiest version, or the easiest way to bounce down stems is literally selecting everything you want, right clicking on the track name, and hitting bounce. Since I have only drums selected, I'm going to type in drums, choose a folder, I'm going to call drums. And then you bounce it.
5 minutes later.
So we're finally done. I'm going to go into the folder to check that they're properly bounced. Let's see something that's kind of in this whole song. There it is. Yeah, they're all the same file size, so that kind of indicates that they're the same length. So that's one way of bouncing stems. And, you know, when you get to the vocals, you literally need to just select all the auxes of the vocals. So right now I have game, DOM backgrounds, J305, and then in special cases they're gonna ask for the effects also. So I'm gonna go ahead and select all the effects also. And all you need to do is hit bounce. And this time I'm gonna go vocals and choose a new folder, call it vocals. Open, bounce, and there you have it. We're not gonna wait for that one. I'm just trying to show you guys how to bounce these stems. And since we already went over it with the drums, I'm not gonna do it again with the vocals. Today, I'm gonna show you guys how to quickly bounce down these groups. So I have auxiliaries separated for bass, music, beats, vocal, and effects. So right there is 6 versions. Sometimes when you submit for mixing or mastering, you're gonna need to bounce down these versions. So right now I have 6 stereo tracks made, and they're labeled bass print, music print, beat print, vocal print, and FX print. What's feeding these guys are from my buses, my main buses. These guys control my whole mix here. I got drums, bass, music, music parallel, beat, vocals, vocals parallel, and then effects. I'm creating sends to go to the inputs of these audio tracks. So for example, drum print is gonna go to drum print here. Bass print is gonna go to bass print. Music print and music parallel print are gonna go to the same music print. So far, music and music parallel are gonna go to the same music print. Beat's gonna go to beat print, vocals to vocal print, vocals parallel to vocal print, and then FX to FX print. These are all going at 0 dB. So I'm not altering the levels of these to change it from the mix. They're going as is. And if I sit here and press record, and I have them all muted because the output is the same as these, then I have the ability to record in real time and watch them print. So here,
grateful to my city, I remain faithful.
and go from the top.
Got the bounce. Great catch and finish.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful. To my city, I remain faithful. To my bandana, I will never disgrace you. To my dead homies, I will never erase you. Fuck with me though. Memory of my nigga Vito. Back and forth to Toledo. Everything stuffed in that Regal. Come on. On that 10, Twin Desert Eagles. You let them birds fly like eagles. Get your head cracked for that kilo.
Several song-filled hours later.
So we're gonna just record up to here. I'm just gonna demonstrate to you guys how or what this is actually recording. So I'm gonna disable the recording, and I'm gonna solo these one by one. This is just gonna be the drums. So sometimes, occasionally, when you send, when you're done with the mix, you're gonna have to send DJ mixes. So drums by itself, bass by itself, and then music by itself. So when they play this in a club or if they're doing shows, they can drop out certain elements and still have like the integrity of the song. So this is just the drums. This is going to be just the bass. This is just the music. And then this is the entire beat. So this is essentially your instrumental track. The next one is a vocal track.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful.
And these are dry because the effects are printed here.
Wake up every morning.
As shown.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful. To my city, I remain faithful.
So, you know, essentially the whole mix is between these three.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful. To my city, I remain faithful. To my bandana, I will never disgrace you.
And if I do it this way, the mix is gonna sound exactly the same as if I was mixing it.
Grateful. To my city, I remain faithful. To my bandana.
I'll A-B it real quick.
Grateful. To my city, I remain faithful.
Exactly the same. So, you know, you got 6 versions here, or 6 different stems here. And usually this is good enough. There are occasionally times where you're gonna have to make custom ones, but this is a pretty safe 6 tracks to print out.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful.
There are times when, if you're doing R&B or pop, they're gonna request lead vocals, background vocals, and then ad-libs separate. But in this instance, we're gonna condense it down to 6 tracks. So this is another way to bounce down stems. So how we're gonna export these is we're gonna select all these prints that we just made, these 6 files, hit export, selected, choose the directory that you would want to dump them into. Right now is create stems here, and then hit open and export. This way is a lot faster because it doesn't have to render any plugins. You basically printed all the plugins in these recordings. So I'm gonna go over here and check as soon as they get done, and they should have printed, yep, exactly how we see them here. And then you can go in there and rename them accordingly, depending on how you like your file system.
Ain't faithful.
So this is method number 2 of how to export stems. In this instance, they're group stems and not individual stems. I'm going to show you guys one more way to do it. This is a super simple way to do it, but it's going to kind of separate everything, and you don't get to decide what goes into what. So what you're going to do is select all the auxes that your mix is running through. So right now I have mix, drums, bass, music, music parallel, beat, vocals, vocals parallel, and effects. Select the range of the duration of the song, and then I'm just going to right click and hit commit. And for the commit option, I'm going to hit edit selection, which means whatever we just selected, that's the duration of all the files. And then I'm going to go to source tracks and do nothing, because you can delete these tracks, hide and make inactive, but right now we're just going to do nothing. And then insert after last selected track and hit OK. So this way it shouldn't take too long. It's almost like you're offline bouncing, but you're actually bouncing 8 or 9 tracks at the same time. So we're gonna wait for this to render down, and then we're gonna do the same thing, export files into a certain location.
Much later.
All right, so as you see now, we have all of our different bounces. I'm gonna bring them up to the top so it's easier to look at them. Then I'm gonna hide everything else. So now this is what we printed. The first one is just the whole mix. We take these out of solo safe so we can solo certain ones. All right, first thing is a mix. So this
Wake
is
up
the
every
entire
morning
mix.
and I'm grateful. To my city I remain faithful. To my bandana.
We'll mute that. Next one is gonna be drums. Next one after that is bass. So we're essentially doing the same thing as printing them, but then this way is a little bit faster. But the downside of it, you can't see it actually print. So if you're in a hurry and you do this really quick, you might have something misrouted or unrouted, and then it won't even bounce. That's happened to me before, where I send the stem and they go, hey, the drums are missing, or the music has vocals in it, and then I'll have to go do it again. But the first way I showed you, where you're actually watching it record, you can kind of detect errors as you go. So now you got music, music parallel, beat. This is the entire beat. You got vocals.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful.
Vocals
Wake
parallel.
up every morning and I'm Wake up every morning and I'm grateful.
I'm going to show you guys another benefit of this. If you go and make all your other tracks inactive, now you're freeing up a bunch of DSP. So the reason that bounces take a long time is because it's actually processing through the plugins. And right now, if I bounce this, just the drums, let's say, should fly by. You see? Now we're flying at 13 times the original demo. And why I point this out is, if I have the beats and the vocals like this,
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful. To my city I remain faithful.
I'm gonna make the analog out here. Now we can make versions of this.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful.
Let's say I need a clean mix.
To my dead homies, I will never erase you. Fuck with me though.
I can just take out certain,
Race you, fuck with me. Race you, fuck with me though.
and we still got a clean mix. And
Disgrace you.
let's say there's a part where we only need verses and not the hooks. We can just separate them and then bounce them really fast. If you get what I'm saying.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful.
Or let's say there's a need for just vocals and drums, and you need to make a bounce like that. It makes it really easy just to do that.
Wake up every morning and I'm grateful.
You know, it just gives you flexibility. And then ultimately, if you want all these versions, like I did before, select everything, hit export, and then choose wherever you want to go. I'm gonna put stems in stems. I'm gonna export it. And it should go by pretty quick because we don't have any plugins on them.
15 minutes later.
Don't do no faking, don't take no losses, nigga. If
There it is.
coughing on July.
Effects, drums, bass. Yep, it looks like everything's there. So a lot of times you can just rename these guys and then send them over and they're good to go. The mix, of course, you call it whatever you label it usually. I'll go mix for master like this. And then beat I'll call instrumental. Vox, we'll go acapella. I mean, I'll probably bounce down the vocals and the effects together and then create an acapella track, but you get the gist of it. All right, guys, so today I shared 3 different ways to bounce down stems and stem groups. And you know, everyone has their own way of doing it. So if you guys have a better way of doing it, a more efficient way of doing it, can you please let me know in the comments? And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe and like and share it with all your homies, man. This is David with All Up in the Mix. Till next week, I'm out. Peace.